the Bills continue to impress, is there any?
It was a joke.
Is there any chance?
Yeah, the Bills weren't really in cafe.
I don't
you
expect
got the
53
digits.
guys.
But
No.
Small club.
No way possible. Is this Luke?
We don't have them.
Drew, we
I
don't-
hear something. I hear something in my
It's
ear.
a knockoff.
No. I told you I'm sticking with the Ravens.
Why?
And I will say this,
Why?
Nick.
You know they can't win the AFC.
I don't know that. I actually don't know that. You guys know. What was your team's record when you won the Super Bowl, Greg?
We were 10-6.
Thank you. I am not the one that thinks you have to go 15-2, 14-3. Heck, the Ravens, what were they last year? 13-4?
13.
14-3? What? Yeah,
14-3,
and we saw what happened. So you can be 11-6.
Okay.
You can be even
the
10-7.
Chiefs were 11-6 last year.
Yeah. So I am not deterred. Now, I will say this, Nick. You might think it's crazy, but part of you probably believes me. If the Bills and the Ravens played tonight, or if they play in a playoff game, I will feel incredibly confident about the Ravens.
I feel like those are two very different scenarios.
They are. Because I understand if somebody wants to say they think the Bills have a better chance of beating the Chiefs. Now, I wouldn't agree, but if somebody thinks the Bills could beat the Chiefs easier than the Ravens could, I get all that. Some of this is styles make fights.
No, that's not what I meant.
But I like the Ravens better.
What I was saying is, if the Bills played the Ravens this week, I might like the Ravens. But if they played them in the playoffs, I sure as hell wouldn't.
Oh, okay. I would. Yeah, I would.
That. And by the way, that's not. I think a lot of people feel that way about the Bills and the Chiefs, just in a different version. Like, yeah, they probably beat them in the regular season. The Bills, they beat them every year. I mean, this is one of those kind of, we don't talk about it thrown away to history things, but the Bills and the Ravens did play in a playoff game once. Josh Allen didn't play well. It was 10-3 Bills with the ball on their own. The Ravens had the ball on the Bills' 2-yard line, and Lamar threw a pick six, 98 yards to lose the game. And so, like, all of Lamar's playoff history, I think, would certainly come into play in that matchup or in any of these matchups. Like, even if everything was going great for the Ravens, I would have the Lamar playoff concerns. Brew doesn't think those are unfair. The playoff concerns are not.
No.
I know
You
you
gotta
think
play
they are
better.
somewhat unfair.
But I think he'll overcome it. but
At
you
some
gotta
point,
do it.
maybe.
Yeah.
But everything has not gone right for the Ravens. If that under the playoff format that existed my whole life until COVID, the Ravens would be very nervous they were missing the playoffs. Like, we don't have a real playoff race this year because the 7 teams, but at 6, Chargers, Ravens, Broncos are all sitting there at 8 wins. Like, I don't think Baltimore can get to the Super Bowl. I don't think a team that has been this inconsistent defensively, this inconsistent special teams, and has a quarterback that has a very checkered playoff history can win 3 consecutive road playoff games, which is what they would have to do.
Yeah, for me, like the Bills, like they're a team that they are clearly a threat. Like, because of how Josh Allen can beat you, what he poses to a defense, the manner of he can take the game over. It can be an all-pass game. He can duel it out with the best of them. If you want to play a shootout, he can meet you at a shootout. If you want to play a grind it out, manage the game, he can do all those things. So when you look at the Bills, and my team to win the AFC is the Texans. I'm not voting on that. But this Bills team is for real. They have a chance to win the AFC. Will it happen? We'll see. Because the same concerns we have about Lamar, they're different of how he performs in the postseason. If the Bills have to face the Chiefs
specifically, sure.
We question, can Josh get it done in that?
Okay, the question is not can Josh get it done. The question is, can the Bills get it done? Josh has consistently gotten it done, and it was his team that has failed him. I have already gone through that so many times, and I just am not going to do it today. I was like, do I have to do it again? And I'm just not going to do it today. Josh Allen has done more than enough, okay? Dude's got the highest touchdown to interception ratio of all time in the playoffs. He had more completions than Patrick Mahomes had pass attempts. He's not the one who missed field goals and dropped multiple passes at their hands, last year. He was also the leading rusher for the Bills. Okay, there we go. We got that out of the way. There's a lot of talk about the Ravens, and really only Greg is one that then brought up the Bills and how good they are. The reality is that Josh Allen is the most versatile quarterback in the NFL right now. So yes, he can do anything. He can do a show. If you need him to run, he can run. If you need him to run away from guys, he can run away from guys. If you need him to run through guys, he can run through guys. If you needed to throw the ball, 50 times, each pass has to be 80 yards down the field, he can do that. There's not a single thing that Josh Allen cannot do. He is the most complete quarterback we have ever seen. I just said it. I mean, he is just absolutely unreal. Just a monster. A beast. So yeah, that's where we can leave Josh Allen out of the conversation. The other conversation is, do the Bills have enough then? That should be the conversation. It shouldn't have to be Josh Allen centered at this point. There's no reason for it. So I don't know why a game versus the Rams would then be like, oh, if the Bills beat the Rams, does that mean now that the Bills will be bruised now pick? I know it's like both tongue in cheek, and they were laughing because he made the whole joke about how he saw the Bills in the coffee shop or whatever like that. But I don't get what a win over the Rams does. Like, that doesn't make sense. It's one thing maybe if it's like, well, if the Chiefs lose and now the Bills are the number 1 seed. Like, okay, I understand now that whole kind of game right now. But the Ravens are in this weird spot because of where they are from a playoff aspect, where whether it's the Bills or the Chiefs, there's a good chance that the Ravens will have to, in order to get to the Super Bowl, they will most likely have to play the Bills and the Chiefs, which is a hard playoff journey if you are on the Ravens, and it would also have to all be on the road. And that's why it's kind of interesting to see like where the Bills might be in a better spot to actually get the number 2 seed. Like, it's the playoffs are really kind of, I really keep trying to look at it and look at all the various scenarios, because I want it where we see the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens all play each other. And obviously having the Chiefs being the reigning champs, like, you want to see them play the Ravens and the Bills rather than having the Bills have to play the Ravens and now the Chiefs only have to face one of those teams. Like, you do want to be able to see it like all, and that is kind of both the blessing and the curse of being the back-to-back Super Bowl champs of the Chiefs, right? Like, you want to see those matchups where it's like less important for me to see, maybe saying, or less entertaining, I should say, to maybe see the Bills versus the Ravens. It's just you are inclined to want to see some of these rematches, because that's the way how it ended last year, and everyone's saying this year is going to be different. And it's like, okay, well, if it's going to be different, prove it, right? Prove that it's going to be different. You want to be given that opportunity. Potentially what ends up happening is let's say the Bills beat the Ravens, and now the Chiefs and the Bills play each other, and now the Chiefs beat the Bills. People will say, well, the Ravens would have beaten the Chiefs. They just couldn't beat the Bills, right? Like, you kind of fall into that whole song and dance. Similarly, what happened last year when the Lions were like, we would have beaten the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We just kind of messed up against the 49ers. And it's like, maybe, right? We'll never know. We'll truly never know. So hopefully we get lucky in terms of playoff seeding where we actually get to see all these games unfold. But yeah, I mean, it is funny how you have someone like Greg kind of saying like, the Bills are amazing, Josh Allen is amazing, they're unstoppable, but I'm still sticking with the Texans because I made that pick months ago and I'm not folding on it because it's seen as a weakness to change your mind. And it's like, doesn't really make sense. I had the Bills being an AFC contender in terms of championship game contender. I said that was their ceiling, and I watched it. I'm like, I don't know. I would be now surprised if they made it to the AFC Championship game, and I wouldn't do a victory lap. I wouldn't say, I told you that this could happen. I would say, man, I did think that this was going to happen, but not the way how it did. Like, I don't know what this, I would really have to go back and be like, well, how did this season unfold? How did they get to where they are? But now when you look at the Bills, it's almost kind of reverse, where it's like, I was not predicting the Bills to make it to the AFC Championship game. And I still have reservations just because of what I've seen in the past, but it's not because of the doubt of Josh Allen. Do I believe that Sean McDermott will have a great defensive plan against Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? Do I believe that Joe Brady will be able to find a better game plan against Spags? Right? Like, I look at it more from like a coaching matchup rather than a Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. I know Patrick Mahomes is great. I know Josh Allen is great. It will rarely come down to who's better quarterback in that moment. It's who has the better, wide receiver too. Whose running back actually breaks through? Which O-line can actually stand their ground? Which defense actually forces a turnover? Right? Like, it's all of those other things. We always love to reduce it to Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. And like the reality is it's often more than that. Now, it was not so much that when we saw the Bills versus the Chiefs, it kind of did get reduced down to quarterback play, and Josh Allen could do more in the field. Josh Allen can actually hold on to the ball, pick up a big fourth down, and run it in for a touchdown. That ended up being the bigger difference, right? That wasn't the difference in the playoffs in both times they faced each other, quite frankly, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't necessarily want to say that was the difference against the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Ravens. It was the difference to a large degree in various Super Bowls. So again, it all depends on kind of what lens you want to kind of look at all this through. But yeah, I think the Buffalo Bills really have little to prove, and beating the Rams doesn't prove anything. They just need to win in order to lock up the seating that they want and get that bye and secure home field. But they don't need to prove anything, and certainly beating the Rams won't be proof of anything. Even if the Bills lose, it's not like, is it proof that the Bills aren't as good? And it's like, no, it's just further proof that there's no dominant team this year, and any team can be any team, and that's why it's a free-for-all, and that's why the NFL is undefeated and just wildly exciting to watch week to week to week. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Buffalo Bills? Do you think they should be most people's favorites to kind of come out of the AFC? What do you think about this whole idea of holding on to your pick preseason, whether it be the Ravens, the Texans, whoever? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.